It's week 2 of the EPL and La Liga this weekend. We've got some great games to discuss. Man City vs Tottenham and Newcastle vs Liverpool. They're two games that really stand out for me from this weekend. And in this video, I'll be sharing with you all the most predictable games from this coming weekend's action and giving you my safest tips for all those games. Welcome back to SoccerPredictions. Just before we get started, I just want to share with you a little betting advice when it comes to the big leagues in Europe. Now, the season always starts off with just 3 rounds firstly before they take that international break. Don't we just all love that break? And then the leagues come back and it's just almost like day one all over again. And I always find it to best to actually start betting on the games after that first round back from the international break. So technically, I start my betting on week 5 of the season, of every season, as it gives the teams time to settle down and to develop some consistency. So I always just use this first month of football just really to have fun with my bets and just suss the teams out and see who's in form and who's not in form. And then I get my bankroll ready to roll and start my serious betting from week 5 onwards. And that's why this season, on Wednesday, the 17th of September, just before round 5, I'll be releasing my new Patreon channel where I'll be showing you and breaking down in detail my top 5 games that I myself will be betting on each week from the EPL and La Liga. So if you're serious about making a profit from your passion of football, then you do not want to miss out. It's starting mid-September. Come join the Panenka family. Let's have some fun. And together, let's make this season the very best one yet. Now that's all said and done, let's talk football. This weekend, we're kicking off with a London derby. It's West Ham United taking on Chelsea. Now, based on last week's performance, it looks like it's going to be a very long and very difficult season for West Ham and their supporters. They were easily beaten 3-0 last weekend by newly promoted Sunderland. And even though this week they return to the comforts of the London Stadium, they'll be playing their London rivals Chelsea. And Chelsea, they had a 1-1 draw with Palace at home in their first game of the season. And to be honest, I think that was a fair result, all things being considered. The Blues will be keen to get their first win on the board for the season. And away against the Hammers, I can see them doing exactly that. Chelsea, they've just got too much quality in their side, and I can see them grinding out the 3 points in the London Stadium this weekend. My prediction between West Ham and Chelsea is going to be simply for a Chelsea away win. Next up, it's Manchester City at home against Tottenham. Both teams got off to a great start last weekend, City winning 4-0 away at Wolves, and Tottenham getting a 3-0 win at home against newly promoted Burnley. So at first glance, you might think that this is going to be an evenly fought contest between two teams in good form with good players. And it might be for a little while, but I think this Man City is just a way better side than this Tottenham side. Even if Tottenham managed to get a goal with the likes of Richarlison or Brennan Johnson, they played and scored in their first game. This City team, I think they're likely to score 3, maybe 4, maybe even 5 against Tottenham. With the likes of Haaland and Reinders, who's playing well, they've got Silva, Doku, Cherki and Mamouche as well. They're all in good form. I think it's going to be a very entertaining game this weekend between City and Spurs. But for me, there's only going to be one winner. So I'm going for a Manchester City home win and over 2.5 goals against Tottenham this weekend. What do you think? Spurs fans, I want to hear from you guys now. Do you think that this year is going to be different and that this Spurs side might be able to hold its own against the likes of City or Liverpool this season? Or will this game just end up 4 or 5-1 to Manchester City? Please share your thoughts and predictions for Man City vs Tottenham down in the comments. Next up is Arsenal at home against Leeds United. Go on, Leeds. Arsenal somehow managed to come away with the 3 points from Old Trafford last weekend, where they clearly were not the dominant side on the day. I think with all their new attackers, it might just take some time for the Gunners to gel and start playing that usual silky style of passing football that we all associate with the Gunners. I just hope they don't get it right this weekend. Now, just as I predicted, Leeds got the 3 points at home against Everton, and they're on quite some unbeaten run right now. Can they possibly come away this weekend with another point or more against the slow starting Gunners? My heart says yes. Unfortunately, the rest of me thinks no. For all their good play on opening day, I still think that the overall difference in quality between these two teams will still, unfortunately for me, see Arsenal come away with a hard-fought victory. Leeds, they might get a goal. Sure, hope they do. But my brain instead, it's just telling me to predict a straightforward Arsenal home win against Leeds. But I do hope I'm wrong. Next up, and staying in London, we have Fulham at home against Manchester United. Now this should be a fun game to watch. Fulham at home for the first time in the new season will be super keen to get a good result to keep the home fans happy and build on their hard-fought and last-minute equalising performance against Brighton last weekend. Man U come into this game hoping to get their first points of the new season on the board, and they did play a lot better in their first game against Arsenal than they did play for the majority of last season. With all their new signings, Cunha and Buemo, they're starting to gel with the rest of the team, and this weekend they should also be able to give a start to their latest signing, the new striker Benjamin Sesko. It should be some game with quality attackers on both teams, and I personally can see goals flying in at both ends in this game. So my prediction for Fulham against Manchester United is going to be for both teams to score. Next up, we travel north for potentially the most exciting and heated game of the round. It's Newcastle United at home against Liverpool. Well, all the talk between these two clubs has really been focused solely on the Isaac transfer saga, but this weekend, all that talk will be put aside as Newcastle look to claim their first win of the season at home against the current EPL champions. Newcastle, I think they were the better of the two sides in their away game against Aston Villa last week, but they just must have left their shooting boots back on Tyneside because they missed chance after chance, and they created a few. Liverpool, in their array of new signings, got off to a winning start 4-2 at home against Bournemouth last weekend, but they might find it a bit trickier against a more talented Newcastle side. I do like Newcastle's chances of scoring in this game. I mean, if Bournemouth can score 2 away, then why can't Newcastle score 1 at home against Liverpool? However, even if Newcastle score a goal, I think Liverpool are going to score more goals and come away with the win here. They've just got too much talent in their team, and especially up front. For my prediction, just to keep it safe, I'm going to go for Liverpool to score 2 goals or more away at Newcastle. Let me know if you agree with my Newcastle versus Liverpool prediction or any other prediction down in the comments, and let's start a chat about them. Off to La Liga now, and the first game that catches my attention this weekend is Atletico Madrid at home against Elche. Now, last week I predicted a draw between Espanyol and Atletico Madrid in the first game of this season, and unfortunately for me, Atletico Madrid, the team that was favourite to win, gave away the lead in the game and ultimately gave away all 3 points as they conceded a late goal to lose the game 2-1. I can't see the same happening this weekend though, as the new signings, they've had another week to get familiarised and to gel with each other as a team, and they did play some really good football in that first game, but in the end they did lose to a very, very well placed header from Espanyol's Pere Milla. Check that goal out if you haven't seen it. Elche scored a late equaliser at home against Betis in their first game of this season, and they would love nothing more than to be able to repeat that feat this weekend against Atletico Madrid. But that's not happening. Atletico Madrid, they're going to start strong in this game, and with their defence and the amazing goalkeeper Jan Oblak, I don't see them conceding in this game either. I can see this one finishing either 2 or 3-0 to Atletico Madrid. So just to keep it safe and simple for my prediction, I'm going to go for an Atletico Madrid home win against Elche. Levante, they take on Barcelona in their first home game of the season, and they did play quite well as they faced Deportivo Alaves away last week, and they almost held on for a draw until a 92nd minute winner from Tenaglie for the home side meant that they left empty-handed. Levante, they do like to play an open attacking style of football, and this actually works well for them, you know, against the mid-table sides or those teams in the bottom half of the table. But when you're playing against Barcelona, then you really risk leaving yourself open at the back and especially down the flanks where the likes of Rafinha and Lamine Yamal do most of their damage. Barcelona, for their part, they didn't play at their best last weekend, but they were still strong enough and lucky enough, to be honest, to get the 3 points away against Mallorca. And just for the record, I personally think that Barcelona's second goal against Mallorca should not have been allowed. Let me know what you think. I can see Barcelona scoring quite a few goals in this game. You can probably see Levante getting a goal as well, to be fair. So my prediction for Levante at home against Barcelona is simply going to be for over 2.5 goals. I like the Barcelona win, but I'm not going to take it. It's just something doesn't feel right for me to go for the win this weekend. So I'm just going to stick with over 2.5 goals. And watch this space. Let's see if this weekend my brain and my gut feelings are actually more accurate than what I want to happen. Villarreal are at home this weekend, and they'll be taking on FC Girona. Villarreal got a comfortable 2-0 win at home in their last game against Real Oviedo, and at home against a Girona side who lost 3-1 when they played at home against Vallecano last weekend. I think Villarreal are firm favourites to back it up and get another 3 points in this game. Villarreal have got a lot of talented players, especially in the attacking third. So for my prediction between Villarreal at home against Girona, I'm going for Villarreal to score at least 2 goals in this game. And for our final game this weekend, we have newcomers Real Oviedo hosting Real Madrid. Oviedo, they lost their first game 2-0 away at Villarreal last weekend, and at the time I'm recording this video, Real Madrid, they've still not played their first game at home against Osasuna. That doesn't bother me though, because I already know what's going to happen in this game. Oviedo, they're going to try their very best. They'll give it their all in front of their home fans, but for all their efforts, in the end, Madrid are just going to batter them and come away with all 3 points. And if you do want to pick a goal scorer for this weekend, then I definitely like Kylian Mbappe's chances of scoring in this game against Real Oviedo. So for my prediction between Real Oviedo and Real Madrid, I'm going for a Real Madrid away win and over 1.5 goals in this game. And once again, that's another prediction I'm making this weekend that I actually don't want to happen. That's all my top predictions for week 2 of the EPL and La Liga action. If you want to know the actual games that I'm betting on each weekend and how I actually place my bets, then get ready for September 17th, where I'll be sharing all of that with you and a whole lot more on my new Patreon channel. Until next weekend, everyone, thank you so much for your support as I continue to grow this channel and hopefully get to know some of you a whole lot better in the chats. Enjoy the amazing football, get your predictions in down in the comments, and let's make this season of football the very best one yet. Until next week, everyone, bye for now.